Radio.
Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Lall Show right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. As you may know, the Lall Show comes your way listen every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 19 hours 20. What I will do now is hand you over to the publisher of the Kaieteur News, Mr. Lall. He will make his presentation, and after which we will open the telephone lines for your calls and, of course, open our phone lines for your messages. All right, so you're listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. You can catch us on Facebook at Kaieteur Radio, as well as the Lall Show on Facebook. So without further ado, I will hand you over to the man of the hour, Mr. Lall, as he makes his presentation this evening on matters of public interest. Mr. Lall, good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Josh. Good evening to all the folks in the studio, and namaste to all of the listeners in Guyana and around the world. Thanks for listening. Exxon and all the other oil companies already dig a huge hole for all of us. We are already in that hole, going down the ladder in debts faster than you can ever imagine. The 357 American dollars we have sitting in a bank overseas, the interest on the pre-contract costs from 1999 to 2016 can't take care of that amount. And I did not include the $20 billion American loan we have sitting out there. I am not talking about the $7.4 billion from those dry holes and wet holes they're digging out there. Just the money them said they spend searching for our oil alone. The 357 million cannot pay the interest on that money alone. Guys, Chad pumping oil 17 years now and begging the IMF for debt relief now as I speak. Guyana, we are already there before any oil is pumped. I want to tell you guys, this world we live in is a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody hustling your pocket. That is what this world has turned to. Our culture here in Guyana is completely different. We were taught to love and share, be kind and be nice. We look out for one another everywhere we go. Most of you would have never believed that people would come from another village and throw you out your house, take away all your jewelry and cash, and leave you to beg and sleep on the streets. That's where Guyana is heading, brothers and sisters. That's where our leaders are taking us. Every foreign company y'all see here in Guyana and their embassies, they are out to take you for a ride, rob you, and leave you to die. That's their culture. You know, you can never get a 25 cents from anybody working in their country. If you need a quarter to make a telephone call in an emergency, if you were just robbed, nobody will stop to give you that quarter to make a telephone call to your family. But here in Guyana, you and I know, we just give away $5 like nothing. That's our culture. We are there to help one another. So please heed my warning. They are looking at your pocket and your pockets only. When I finish this program, you guys will tell me, I'll be asking you this question: who owns this country and who owns the resources of this country, whether Guyana or the foreigners? I talked about Guyana should have received big bonuses up front Monday night. Not true, guys?
Yes.
Yes, I did that. But here, this one, Guyana instead giving the oil companies huge bonuses up front in the billions of American dollars for them, their families, and their countries. Let me explain. Let me just drop Exxon for now and listen to this unbelievable thing our leaders is allowing to happen. The people in the Kanuku oil block hand Guyana a bill for $1 million when they were searching for oil. The Demerara oil block, them people hand us $1 million in search of oil. The people in the Berbice oil block hand Guyana a bill for $500,000 looking for oil. Those in the Quarantine block hand us a bill for $155 million. The Oranduk block people hand us a bill for $300,000 looking for oil, searching for oil. The people in the Anadarko oil block hand us a bill for $6.170 million searching for oil. The Kanji oil block people hand us a bill for $100 million searching for oil. The Kaieteur oil block people hand us $31.4 million looking for oil. ExxonMobil, them hand us a bill for $960 million American dollars searching for oil. Total, the French company, hand us $1,255,000. I am so sorry, let me repeat. All those figures that I called out there, the total is $1,255,370,000 American dollars. Let me repeat the figure. $1,255,370,000 American dollars. This is what Guyana has sitting on our backs, our necks, our heads. Yes, money we have to pay, and not a drop of oil come out from all of them except ExxonMobil now pumping Lall oil. That money we also have to pay with an interest rate we don't even know. And our leaders ain't saying nothing. They are not saying nothing, anything. Guys, Christmas, I think, is next week. So let me say Merry Christmas to all of you. And welcome to the real world we live in. These people just went to bed one night, wake up the next morning and say, Guyana, this is my bill for you guys, that you guys owe us. All of us in pre-contract cost. Guys, pre-contract cost is money what them said them spend during the search for oil. Yes, we give away we oil blocks. Every one of them free. With the expectation of Exxon, with the exception of Exxon, that we collect a little 18 million, the biscuit money. And now we have a bill from the rest of them, including Exxon, for $1,255,000,000 American dollars waiting to be paid. US, the 352 million US we have sitting in a bank overseas that we get the whole year for 2019 and 2020, that money cannot even pay the interest on that $1,255,000,000. And I ain't talking about a 20 billion loan out there, you know. So don't mix that up. You need $1 billion in profit alone every year to pay that interest rate. And what are we getting? 352 million a year. Guys, just think about that alone. I just told you about Chad, the 10th largest oil producing country in Africa, pumping oil 17 years now. Tonight, as I speak, them run to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, to help them with the debt burden the country has. We're carrying that story tomorrow in the Kaieteur News. You can read it. 17 years, them producing oil and can't pay their debts. Guyana already there. You guys remember we borrowed 1/3 of the 2021 budget? Yes. Josh, you think this is a real country we live in?
Nope.
Is the leaders of this country real?
Not at all.
They understand what is business?
I don't think so.
They know how to run a business?
Definitely not.
Huh?
No.
Man, even a market vendor cannot be caught up in this type of situation we're in. Guyana, if you're not ready to die, then you're not ready to live. A true fighter that I know said those words. And I'm pretty much sure I didn't tell none of you, Namaste. I am not upset with you, life.
I'm astonished.
I am astonished. Yesterday morning, I was dreaming. I went to a wedding, and the Vice President Jagdeo was there, and I went up to him, pleading with him to come on the radio program and let's talk to the nation. He told me something in my dream about Israel and Palestine in Fancy language, and walk away. He crossed over the neighbor fence and leave me standing up. I turned and walked out the yard, and it looked like they had some vendors outside selling. And one of them asked me why I crying. And I woke up. And I was crying for truth in my sleep during the dream. I woke up and turned on my TV. And the first thing I met was a news item from Bosnia. It was a special report. They aired what is going on in the city of Bosnia called Tuzla. They have a 60-year-old power plant in which the neighborhood had 460 households living around the plant. Today, it only has 30 homes. I will play the tape for you guys to listen to what is going on presently. People can't breathe, can't see up in the sky. The toxic fumes that is coming out from the power plant is destroying the ground. The fruits, the vegetation the people are eating is no good. They are even poisoning the water. Tons of people die with cancer, lung cancer, and every cancer you could think about. They are still dying now. The people hair falling off their heads. 2-year-old babies can't breathe. The entire Europe is in danger with it. The Turkish television TRT aired that program. They aired it. They were talking about the Tuzla thermal power plant. It's powered by coal. Another guy, the same day, the same morning, one of my friends sent me another video showing me what's happening in Texas. In Texas now, presently now. I want to play that tape for you to hear what the American people talking about flaring. Could you play that tape for me, please?
Goran Stojak's 2 children haven't played outside in years. His village Divkovići, a suburb of Tuzla, has been deserted. There were 450 people here in 1995. Today, there are only 30. Goran says most of them died because of pollution.
90% were lung cancer, the rest were heart failures. In this village, no one ever died a natural death.
The people still here live near one of the biggest power plants in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It burns 4 million tons of lignite every year. It's the cheapest and most toxic form of coal. And the plant doesn't use filters for sulfur dioxide, although it is obliged to do so by law. According to local laws, sulfur dioxide concentration is not supposed to exceed 50 micrograms per cubic meter, more than 35 times a year.
What happened in 2017 is that we had increased number of deaths. 50 people died in just one day. When we analyzed concentration of sulfur dioxide in those days, they were constantly above 500 micrograms for longer periods of time.
Sorry about that. We're getting a little difficulty with the complete video, but I'll play another little video from Texas to which you will hear what's happening there. Guys, seeing that video at the Tuzla thermal power plant and the damage, the health issue going on there with men, women and children, it breaks your soul. A healthy nation is supposed to be a wealthy nation. Instead, Instead, what's going on there, it's not healthy. And what's going on here, it's not healthy too, with our flaring out there. Then, like I told you guys, I got this other video from a friend with an NBC News item about flaring in Texas, right where ExxonMobil headquarters is located. The residents pack up and moving out, fearful for their health and safety. They said the smell that comes as they flare smells like rotten eggs. Very, very stink. People can't breathe. It makes them dizzy. It gives them headache. Makes you sick. The people say it kills you. They're poisoning the west of Texas. Just listen for me a minute of what some of the residents in the nearby villages had to say.
process
people lying. You hear that for yourself? Yep. What they're doing there is exactly what they're doing here, flaring out there. You guys are not going to feel it now. Wait a little more. You will see the health effects it will have on us. And Jagdeo and Brasington going ahead with another one, the gas plant at Wales. Guys, this is not only a financial disaster for Guyana. It is sickly and a deadly disaster in the making for many, many people living in and around Wales on the west bank and on the east bank of the Demerara. Yeah, man. Last night I going home again and I saw them burning stuff at Houston, right at the Schlumberger shipyard. And I called the EPA today, but I didn't get through to them. Maybe they're in a coma. Guys, you can either use coal, which can be extracted from the earth about 200 feet below, or gas, natural gas to fuel power plant to make electricity. In the case of Guyana, we will be using natural gas to make electricity. What is it going to be cheaper? Oy. Wow. If them still go ahead with that, guys, we're in deep trouble. It will be more destruction to the environment and to all of us. 2-year-old children suffering from asthma and bronchitis, adults dying of lung cancer, elderly dying of strokes if ever they get old or reach old age. The power plant at Wales, I want to tell you, Jagdeo and Brasington don't have hair on their heads. So they don't care if or when your hair will fall off your head. They just don't care. I played that just to warn you guys. Take note. You know, it's very hard to wake up someone pretending to be asleep. I have been trying to wake up the leaders of this land for a very long time, but they are pretending. Glenn alone can't do it. You guys have to help me wake them up to what they're going on with. You know, Forbes Burnham and Chetty Jagan must be turning in their graves to see who they left here to run this nation. One day, your life will flash before your eyes. I just want you guys to remember that. Make sure it's worth watching. I am not upset with you, life. I am astonished. I promised a caller to talk a little on the IMF recommendations that they asked Guyana to implement 5 years ago. I'll get to that a little later. I can't find words to describe the leaders of this country. I don't think they are bleeders anymore. Something else is definitely wrong with their thinking. I talked Monday night on how we have over 7.4 billion American dollars in holes they dig out there, dry or wet ones. That money is almost 5 years of our budget, and we leaders can't see that. They can't stop that. They can't curtail that. They cannot put ring fencing provision in place now. And that is one of the recommendations the Kaieteur News have reported on 5 years ago. And the IMF also talked about that many years ago. I'll get to the recommendations just now. Listen to this one. ExxonMobil said they spent $8.5 billion which is 42.5 million US dollar on local content in Guyana for the last 3 months. You hear that? 8.5 billion they spent in Guyana for the last 3 months. The Guyana Times was proud to run a headline, and this is their headline: ExxonMobil spent over 8 billion with local businesses. Yes, that's their headline. Kaieteur News carried that story, and this is our headline: ExxonMobil throws Guyana 8.5 billion for local spending. The strapline says 2019 and 2020 bills yet to be verified despite 2 years deadline. The Guyana Times in the story did not say we have a time limit to check the money, which is the most important aspect of the transaction. They left that out. They don't want y'all to know that. Guyana, brothers and sisters, we have a time limit to verify, to check that money. ExxonMobil spending, and our government not saying a single word on that. We got a bill from 2015 to 2018 for 20 billion Guyana dollar. That's 100 million US dollar. And the time lapse, we couldn't check that. So you know what happened there? That's 100 million US we have to pay. We get another 54 billion, which is 270 million American dollars from 2019 to 2020. And the time running out to audit, to verify or to check that, to see how much they're robbing we, how the money was spent, where it was spent, what it was spent on. Now we're getting, for the first 3 months, another 8.5 billion Guyana dollar. Them said they spend, and we ain't hearing a word about checking those bills. So we done past the time to check 2015 to 2018. So we have to pay the bill. Whether they spend the 100 million or not, we got to pay that. We got to pay the full 100 million. Now we have from 2019 to 2021, 270 million American dollars. We running out of time because we only got 2 years to check it. From 19, 20, 21, maybe a few more months we got to check that. The contract said we got to verify and check that money within 2 years. And our leaders saying nothing about that. Wait, man. What kind of moron we have doing business in this country for us? Huh? Cherry Jagan and Burnham, may I ask you guys if you could hear me? Why y'all leave these people with us? Huh? If you total the figures, is 412 million American dollars we paying, and we ain't even checking it. Guys, you remember how much we get for 1 year? Last year, 357. We giving away 412 million in a blink of an eye. And you're all proud that you get 357 million. Oh boy. Oh Guyana. Oh, tell me something. We get 7.4 billion American dollars in the 74 wells, and nobody curtailing or checking those things. That oil, you think it really belongs to Guyanese? Josh? No. It is sickening what is going on here, man. You got 2 years to check bills and not a single word you hearing from Burnham or the Jagan people. You know the first set of bills, what I said I spent in Guyana? When Kaieteur News asked ExxonMobil, we found out that they pad up the list with names, places, and things they said they buy. Them said they buy things from Border Market. They spend money at the dump site, Royal Castle, Bounty Supermarket, Metro Stationery, Star Party Rentals, Shanta Roti Shop. But no evidence was shown of the actual money they spent. They wine and dine in fine style and handing Guyana bills to pay. And these morons we have for leaders and checking, just paying hundreds of millions in US dollars. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Understand, clearly. Every expense these people spend is a bill on us. Man, we gotta verify the bill, man.
We must.
Guys, when I meet your leaders, I please tell them to check this money we have here now. It's 312 from 2019 to now. Not 412. The 100 we already lose. Please, I get them for check this now. They may very well spend 50 behind your bill for 312 million American dollars. The time running out. I remember it's only 2 years and we in 2021.
Yep.
Can you ask these financial gurus, Joshua?
I wish I can.
I am not upset with you, life. I am just astonished. Not even a market vendor would run a business like that. You doing a 50-50 business with a man and he giving you 1 hour to check the bills he handing you, and if the hour expire, you have to pay the man the bill he hand you. You think any market vendor gonna accept something like that?
Never.
Huh?
Never.
This is why I keep saying a market vendor will do better than any one of these leaders we have in here. I really don't know which school these people went to. We carry a story in today's newspaper in which the government said they buy COVID vaccine, not from the supplier, not from the people who are making the drugs, but a third party. They buy the vaccine from the United Arab Emirates and Russia making the vaccine. The government spent $3 million US to buy the vaccine, and the opposition went and checked and find out that the government paid double for the vaccine. That's a good job you did there, guys. Kudos. The opposition went and checked on a $3 million US, making a big story over that. But can't say a word, hasn't said a word about the billions of American dollars we losing in dry holes. Are you understand what I'm saying? Yes. The opposition and saying nothing about what is going on with all these spendings. Nothing you hear from them. But they find the tongue and they find the mouth to holler hard, shout down on Guyana on a 3 million COVID vaccine the government buy. Guyana, guys, are you with me? You really with me, man? Huh? Listen, man, I'm not siding with the government on the purchase of the COVID-19 vaccine. So don't get me wrong. They are wrong to pay double the price for an item.
Correct.
What I'm upset with is that the opposition find their eyes and their tongue to speak on the double, which is 1.5 million US. And you hear nothing, absolutely nothing, on billions of American inflated bills we get in from all them oil companies out there. That is not double, you know. That's like 50 times more than the costs they say they're spending.
Correct.
Somebody gotta help me, man. I really need help. All these bleeders for leaders we have, their minds, their brains is so small. They only see 2%, while the world is seeing 98%. And the 2% them see or know about, them watching each other with that. Peeping and seeking how he is spent and how this one a thief and who getting what and who getting from here. From the borrow money. We borrow for the 2021 budget. It's not even our money. It's money, guys, what I borrow. Yes. Wow. Our gold, our bauxite, our timber, now our oil is being carted away in the trillions, while bills are being thrown on us in the billions, and nobody saying a word in this country. Is this the financial gurus, Mr. Bonham and Mr. Jagdevi Aleph in this country? I am so happy you all turning in our grave, because you all ought to know better. Here another blame game between these morons we have for leaders. Ashni Singh said government forced to pay 606 million Guyana dollar in interest on the 150 million US bond. The coalition take to upkeep Gaisuku. You hear that? They said it was a badly negotiated deal. And he said how, Ashni Singh said how Guyana is shackled. The government is shackled on the repayment, on the early repayment. You know, there's a song. Oh, my commanding wife.
She wants to destroy my life.
She wants to destroy my life. Oh, ho, aha. That song is not for wife. That song is for you, our leaders. You're destroying the people's life of this country. Faster. Guys, they are doing it faster than you can imagine. Ashni Singh find time to talk about 150 million US dollar interest rate in Parliament. But none of them can find time to tell Guyana what interest rate ExxonMobil is taking out from the oil out there on the 20 billion loan. None of them can find time to tell us the interest rate we are paying on that same 1.255 billion them throw at us for finding the oil. None of them can tell us about the 7 billion in the dry hole and the wet hole out there. Wow. Them talking about 1.5 million US dollar. 1.5 million US dollar interest we paying on the Gaisuku bond. You see how they're blaming each other? And what they're blaming each other on? The flimsy and the few cents. Let me ask this question. Are you guys benefiting from that investment out there? Politicians? Are you guys benefiting there? The reason I asked that question, all Guyana, including myself, are surprised why we can't know the interest rate we are paying. why we have no insurance, why we have no ring fencing provision in place to stop the transfer of costs from one project to another. Why we can't have this contract negotiated. Tell us that, man. I am not upset with you. None of you. I am astonished. Let me share another little story from the papers today. This happened in Parliament. I had a healthy laugh with it. The coalition government now saying how they want the PPP government to change the lopsided one-sided contract them sign with ExxonMobil. Isn't that funny?
Very funny.
Isn't that amusing? Patterson tell the Parliament, if you all think the contract bad, you all change it. We on y'all side. Y'all see these leaders we have in this land?
Yep.
They're making jokes with y'all livelihood and a mockery of all the citizens of this country. What a Guyana this is. Them signed the ExxonMobil contract. The whole world was criticizing it every single day. And they were silent. They went numb, deaf and dumb. Didn't see it fit to correct it after the world was complaining. Now they want the PPP government to renegotiate it and say, we're going to support it. Y'all see these bleeders for leaders we have? And tricksters for ministers? Yes, this is who we have to deal with. But let me say this, guys. It's a good start. Guyana, it's a good start. Because if you don't get a change, trust me, you have nothing to get from that massive oil wealth you have out there. And let me tell you this, if anyone in this entire world can come on this radio station or bring kagaj, bring paper to tell me, to show me Guyana will benefit from the wealth we have in this country, I will give them the newspapers, the radio station, and everything else I own in this life. I am prepared to go back and sell in the streets where I begin my life. Bring all the financial gurus of this entire world and prove to me that Guyana will benefit from our resources with those oil contracts, all of them in the gold, diamond, bauxite, timber, and the oil. That's a challenge. That's my challenge to anyone. So GNBA, let me tell you, whatever I'm saying on this radio, every program, I am factual. Call the financial gurus of the world to come and debunk anything I say here. I remember the three reporters said Lall put them to talk and mislead Guyana on the radio program. I have challenged them to name not only a story but a sentence in which them or me have misled Guyana. I didn't hear back a word from them. Jack Day was proud to go to an online radio station and announce that. And to today, them nor the GNBA that write me can't say a single sentence that I have said here since November, 3 times a week. Not a single sentence they can debunk unto now. Now, let me answer the question the caller asked me Monday night. He wanted to know why the leaders did not put in place the recommendations the international bodies give Guyana to safeguard our wardrobe, our safe, or our pockets. Guy, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, since 2015 has been highlighting the many loopholes in our oil contract. And they have asked Guyana to update the petroleum laws. Them said the law we have is outdated. It's there since 1986, which is 35 years now. The people also say to strengthen the tax laws to rake in our taxes fairly and squarely, just like every one of us who pay taxes. That's what they said. That's what they advised Guyana to do. In spite of that advice, our political leaders turn a blind eye to it. So we will continue to receive the crumbs, the 2%, and no taxes whatsoever from any one of the oil companies, because nothing has changed. The old laws is still there, the tax laws is still there, and we don't have anything. The people say, without those laws, we give ExxonMobil and their partners ammunition to abuse us on interest rates, on loans, and on the same daily expenses that I just talked about, all of which we got to pay. And we had no say. That's one of the recommendations the people advise Guyana to take. The people say, if you don't put that in place, it is detrimental to your profits, your pockets. Them say all over the world, countries does determine interest rate, not the oil companies. But Guyana allowing the oil company them to determine our interest rate. You see why they can't answer me how much money they're paying on all those loans? The international body also said that countries do not allow interest rate on expenses. Some countries do not pay searching for oil. If they do, the people say it's a reasonable amount. But Guyana is paying every single cent in the billions. In the billions, even if they inflate the price an annual, you gotta pay for search for oil. You give them the oil block, free, you get nothing. Them spending money to search for the oil, and them sending the bill to you. Yeah, that's what Guyana doing. Guys, do you know we have the pre-contract cost from 1999 to 2015. Guyana had 460 up to 2015, and it moved to the 960 that I spoke about in front. Them say, Exxon say they spend their money looking for oil. 960 million American dollars. That's about $1 billion. And how much we get? 357. And they're spending every day as I speak, still trying to find more oil, and all that bill coming to us. Wow, what a Guyana this is.
Beautiful.
The IMF call on Guyana to close up all the thieving loopholes inside the ExxonMobil contract and make sure the orders are done properly, so that Guyana can benefit more and do not go into the red as to where we are right now with the ExxonMobil contract. The people tell them, design a new contract that can give Guyana more profits in the pocket. I don't know if we got that or we get that done yet. The people advise that we install ring fencing provisions in the contract to prevent the oil companies from transferring the money again. Yeah, I talked about that Monday, and I talked about it just now. Ring fencing provision is to safeguard your pocket. This is just a few of the suggestions, the guidelines that the people had shared with our leaders, and they did nothing with it so far. Even though they keep saying to us every day that they are doing everything in their power to get the best oil deals for us. Oh boy. You know, another international body, the Natural Resource Governance Institute, based in New York, told Guyana look out for 12 major corruption red flags in the oil industry, and said Guyana is guilty of all 12. But I'll only talk a little on 7 for now. The body said I look at 100 world cases of license or contract awards in the oil, gas and mining sector, and found blatant corruption in all of them. All of them. The people said the 12 dangers is not only useful to the international body, but it is important for every citizen, every one of us, especially leaders like Jagdev and Basington, Harman and Trotman them, who got to oversee this oil sector. He said it's important. The first danger, the people said, don't put oil blocks in people's hands who don't know anything about oil and gas. Man, nobody got to tell Guyana that. To put oil block in people's hands who never pump water. Nobody will do that. Nobody will give a man his car to repair who never hold a spanner. But this is what happened in the Kanji and the Kaieteur and other oil blocks out there. Yep, that's what happened. The second danger, the people say, is to look out if the oil blocks gone into family or friends' hands. They said that is the most common one all over the world. Yeah, I wonder if that happened in Guyana. Anybody can answer me that?
Yes, yes.
You guys remember Robert Prasad, man?
Very familiar.
He said he never meet the people who received the Kaieteur and Kanji oil blocks. And he can't remember the names of the lawyers who signed on behalf of the owners. Wow. This is Guyana.
Beautiful Guyana.
This is Robert de Prasad. Beautiful Guyana. Another danger, the people say, you must look out for when the owners sell their shares quickly for large profits without even doing anything on the oil blocks. That happened right there with the Kaieteur and Kanji oil blocks. As soon as they get it, months after, they just sell them out. The people say look out for scams and crooks in the business with a history of criminal records and controversies. He said look out for them just come and bid for oil blocks. Some of them who get oil blocks, check their background and you will see. These are things the people warn us, you know. But no heed. Our leaders took no heed on them.
I wonder why.
I don't know why. How are you going to ask me that question? Check the people who get the oil blocks and if they're related to the political players of the country and what interest they have in the oil blocks. I wonder if any politicians got shares in any one of them. I don't know.
I want to know too.
Everybody wants to know that. They say watch the officials who is responsible for the process of granting the oil blocks. I wonder who we got watching this country.
Everybody.
They also say keep your eyes on the contract your leaders sign if it is different from the normal oil contracts around the world.
Big time difference.
Ours completely different.
Worse.
Completely different. It's the worst the world has seen. Guys, I don't know what to tell you guys, but I just sometimes just lost for words to explain these things. what's going on in this country, what has already happened. But like I always say, all is not lost. We can stand up together, we can fight together, and we can draw back, we can claw back a lot more. A lot. We can demand, we can change all these contracts. Guys, hear this one. On top of that, our leaders are taking the poor people money to buy a ship that they say will protect us from Venezuela. Government buying a boat from the US to protect Guyana from Venezuela.
With some water gun.
Thief man and rapist come. Guys, thief man and rapist come in your house to rob and rape your family. And your parents hiring security guards to oversee the raping and the robbery in your own house on your own children. Wow. They say government paying a US company $11.5 million American dollars for a boat to come and protect us. Us here. They can't find money to increase police salary, to buy vehicles to protect the Guyanese people who are being raped and robbed every second in the streets and in their homes. But they can find $11.5 million American dollars to buy a gunboat, a patrol boat, to guard ExxonMobil and the rest of them out there. Wow. Wow. Maybe from pirates coming from Venezuela. You know? Or maybe they're guarding the fishing boats, them not to go close to the oil people. And hear this one, man. They don't make a down payment of $3 million US on the boat. The same amount they've spent for buy COVID vaccine. That can't even vaccine a few villages in this country. But they can put the money on a boat to save the lives of the oil people. That was revealed yesterday in Parliament. Guyana, the $3 million US down payment on the boat came out from the contingency fund, not from the budget. You know what I mean? They are sinking you further into debts. Gail Teixeira said that, not Glenn Lall. What a Guyana we live in.
Oh, beautiful Guyana.
I am not upset with you, Gail Teixeira. I am not upset with you, parliamentarians. I am not upset with you, GNBA, who sent me that letter. No, I am not. I am astonished. Good night. God bless all of you. And thank you all for listening. Can I take a few calls from you? Please. Or your questions or your comments.
That's right. Let me remind you that you can call us on 226-7453 and 226-7454, or you can also send us a message via WhatsApp or SMS to 622-2222.
Oh my. Oh my. You got messages on the in the meantime the calls coming through?
Yes, I'm looking for the messages. Let me just remind, we have a caller. Caller, good evening to you. Hello?
Mr. Gallancho?
Yes, you are.
Good evening to you, sir.
I'd like to ask this last question. Do you think that the person is culpable in that?
Raise it. Go ahead.
Caller, you can't listen to yourself. You have...
Sensitizing the Guyanese people the way you are? Yes, do you think the person is culpable for not sensitizing the Guyanese people the way you are?
I didn't hear the question.
Caller, I don't understand what you're saying, and you're listening to yourself. So what you will have to do is to take your radio completely off, or else we have to disconnect you. Repeat the question. We lost him? All right, 226-7453 and 226-7454. Let me just remind you that when you're calling us, people, please lower the volume of your radio so that we can have a smooth conversation.
Good night, Mr. Lall. Good
Good night.
evening to all the viewers out there, all the listeners, sorry. I have one question. Why aren't they pushing to get the contracts renegotiated?
Why aren't they pushing?
Yeah, why aren't they doing it? It's obvious, as you've stated, even a vendor wouldn't go into such an arrangement. Why aren't they doing it?
That's a tough question. I really can't answer that question. I'm sorry.
We have a question here that says, Mr. Lall, I'm confused.
Everything is wrong with the contract, and our leaders not asking for a renegotiation. When they have clause in the contract that says very clear, both parties have to agree on any changing or renegotiation. So it's a tough question for me to answer. I don't know how to answer that myself.
While we wait on the callers, Mr. Lall, I'm confused. It's a question for someone out there. We already owe $7.4 billion for the dry and wet holes, which is $100 million US per hole. How come we owe them from 2015 this 960 million you're talking about? Why is it two different sums of money?
1 second, I'll answer that.
No problem.
Can I help you? Miss Harris, you're online? You're on here? Speak up, please. No, speak up, please.
All right. Let's
Yes,
talk
I
about
hear you.
clarification.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, you were saying that when they give us this bill, when Exxon gives us this bill, we're meant to take the bill and go through some processes to check if everything that they see on this bill is correct.
Exactly.
Why is that not happening? What's supposed to happen? What happens? Does Exxon just give us a folder of receipts and documents and say, look, 200 and something million, check this?
Yes, that's what they do. But none of our leaders are saying anything about checking anything. From 2015 up to 2015, when the coalition went into office, we were handed a bill for $460 million. They are out of office and we haven't heard a word. The PPP came back into office and said that they are initiating, that will be a priority to audit the 460. And we have not heard a word since then on the 460 from ExxonMobil alone. It has reached, as we speak today, to $1.255 billion, and we haven't heard anything. And that money is only exploration costs, looking for oil. We have another 412 million American dollars that I just spoke about in expenses, local content expenses, and we haven't heard a word from that. Nothing we are hearing a word from. And we have time limit to audit these books, to check, to verify them. So I am just as confused as the whole nation.
Yeah. Do they even have an auditor? Perhaps they should release the expenses.
Yes.
And let an independent auditor, somebody like Christopher Ram,
No, we
do a
hired,
really good analysis. Let him analyze it.
One
He's
second.
a chartered accountant.
1 second. The PPP government hired a firm out of England to audit the 460. But we haven't heard anything. There's no update on these things. So Guyana is left in the dark. We don't know nothing what is happening. All we know is billions is coming out from our oil wealth. And nobody is saying anything. I have said this many times that little Trinidad had 38,000 people working in their oil sector. They had 1,800 auditors in the oil field, checking every second of the day what the oil companies were spending. And I have said it already that I don't think we have 8 Guyanese who checking what is going on. Much less with the ability, the capability, the wisdom, the knowledge to know how to verify these things or check these things. So,
It's a very sad situation.
Oh yeah. It's like me, you doing business, and I keep handing you the bill and tell you, Miss Harris, you only have 1 hour to check the bill. If the hour go by, you just gotta pay me. Who does business like this in this world, man, today? Yes. Yes. Only them do things like this. Yeah. Thanks. Any other question?
No, that's it for tonight.
Thank you.
Enjoying
Thank you.
the show as usual.
Thank you. Yeah, the question you asked, Josh.
Yeah. How much we owe ExxonMobil?
Now
Yeah.
we owe ExxonMobil a lot that we will never even get till the oil finish.
Barbuda.
We have in excess of 20. Yeah, go ahead.
Caller, good evening to you. Thank you for calling us.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Are you on today, Glenn Lall show?
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Mr. Glenn Lall, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I listen to your show actually every time that it's on. But right now I'm not really onto it, but still I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Great show.
Thank you.
But I'm wondering, how could we get it into the school? Like to the 5th formers and 4th formers? Because I heard when you was talking and I did say the chain is around the children's neck.
Yes.
So if you could get it in the school to the 4th formers and 5th formers, that they could go home and actually register them parents because it's their country.
Hold one
right
second.
now we're on the way out.
Yeah, hold on the line. The people they're aiming to shut me down, talking on the radio, educating you people now as I speak. You think I could go into any school and do lecturing?
Yeah, I know it's a tough job actually for you to get done, but I'm willing to help. And if we could really get into the school and really give it to the youths them, because if the youths them could really take this message home to their parents.
Right now, my friend, the information I am giving all of you is not for the schools. The schools, we have to go with oil curriculum, teaching them about the oil sector. What I'm actually teaching you guys is what can be corrected now, what must be corrected now. If not, you have nothing to get.
And then one more point I want to get to you is I was listening on your show today. I was talking about ExxonMobil had this meeting, and you were the only guy in that show.
The meeting with Exxon that you attended.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and they say you was the only Guyanese that shop there, but it had this young lady there that was representing ExxonMobil. She was a Guyanese, you see?
She's not a Guyanese, man. She was there representing ExxonMobil. She's the
But
PR.
she was a Guyanese?
She's a PR.
Yeah, she's a Guyanese.
Okay, good. Well, what I'm trying to get to you with is old people used to get a saying that chicken come home to the rooster. I really don't know what it means. But young people have a saying now that master come home. And if you really check it back from way back then with slavery, is that really master had the whip when we back, So now it's not really a whip them have. Them have the mic now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They're using our own people with the mic on us.
Right.
Yes, to enslave us. Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
I have texted her and say hello, and she didn't even respond to me with a hello. So that tells you where she stands as a Guyanese.
Thank you so much,
Thank
caller.
you, man.
Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on the show. But have a few points left. Let me allow somebody else to get here.
All right, goodbye. Yes, I think coming back to the question I would have asked you earlier, Someone is confused. They already owe $7.4 billion for the dry and wet holes, which is $100 million per hole.
Mm-hmm.
How come we owe them from 2015, this 960 million rather, and that's what you're talking about? Why is it two different sums of money?
Well, the 960 million, that is exploration money. Right? When they were exploring for the oil. Meaning when you're looking for the oil, you're searching for the oil. The money they would have spent there over the years, that is 960. That has nothing to do with the dry holes. What or the oil find now? When you find oil in a bed, on a bed, you have several other holes you got to drill there now, and when you find, you have to drill down to get the oil up. That's a different drilling. That's a different hole, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. When you're looking, you do find tests. But they say now when you find, you got to do the real hole to bring up the oil. That's how simple I can explain it. I understand. So it's two different money. Yeah. And this one for bring up the oil is in the hundreds of millions of American dollars. Each one you dig. Yeah. Each hole. Because you got to look for the oil in the various section. You know, like you find in Lisa one, right? They have a few there in Lisa one, and then you have some dry, so you pay for the dry one too. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Lall. We are living in a country where our leaders are blind to the issues of our population. It seems like if our leaders only know about sugar and rice, our 2% leaders, it seems like this is all they know about.
They don't even know about sugar and rice because both of them are failures.
Now, I see a lot of comments on Facebook asking why we're so concerned about the oil and stuff like that. Because for generations to come, people will be enslaved by these lopsided contracts.
The persons who are making those comments, slowly, they will get to understand what we are doing. Precisely. You see, for now, like I said, the oil business is a gigantic one. It's not you can't learn it. It takes 40 years, 50 years to learn the business.
You can't learn it overnight.
You cannot learn it overnight. So you will get those kind of comments. But it's okay for them to comment and to ask questions.
Also, they should see this contract, these are deals as a blatant disrespect to Guyanese people, because these contracts are some of the worst that the professionals who opine on them have ever seen.
No.
So it's like if they're saying that Guyana have 750,000 stupid people.
No, what you have to tell them is that the contract Guyana signed with ExxonMobil is the worst oil contract in the history of the world. The contract favors ExxonMobil and ExxonMobil alone. Once if they get to understand that, then they will speak differently. If you tell them, well, listen, the both of us have a contract in which you alone carrying out all the money from the home, then they will understand. They will understand, well, there is nothing for me. You understand? Yeah. And if there isn't anything for me, for my home, then you got to get out my place. So they need to understand it like that. Right? Simple like that.
There must be some laws in place in our law book that could hold these leaders accountable for the nonsense that they're doing.
No. The Constitution does not give them any calls.
Yeah, Mr. Lall, since we pay in ExxonMobil all of this money, do we have funds to help the people who are affected by the floods?
What funds?
By the floods.
Yeah, ExxonMobil throwing a few penny.
A few penny.
The interest rate alone them getting is in the billions, and they're throwing through penny. The interest rate alone, not the loan, the interest rate alone they're getting from the loans out there, they're getting it in the billions, and they throw a few pennies
that they can
to
recover
help the flood victims. I want big publicity with that. They send out big statement with that, with photographs, handing out money.
Can they
I
recover
always
that?
remember a young lady went to one of the best schools in economics. She said, they give you under the flashing lights and a thief from you in the dark. I love that girl. Go ahead, take the call.
Caller, good evening to you.
Yeah, good night. This is Grandma Show.
Yes?
I would like to say, I must thank you for your aggressiveness, Mr. Lall.
Thank you.
You hear me?
Thank you.
Do you have any question?
And I think you is advisor for the president and advisor for this country.
Well, right now I'm advising the country. Right now I'm teaching the country. Because I'm certain that many of you out there didn't know or don't understand what is going on. So this is my job, to tell you guys what's happening.
I must congratulate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Caller, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Lall. Good evening, panel.
Good evening to you, sir.
I would like to say something to the Guyanese people, and then I want to make another statement. It's obvious that the opposition is not going to help the Guyanese people to get a better contract. You can tell by their silence. So with that in mind, they had better not depend on the government or the opposition. The Guyanese people had better wake up fast and give you as much support with your fight. And in doing so, they'll be supporting and helping themselves. The next thing I would like to say is, I'm going to bring Trump again. In Parliament, Patterson told Ashley Singh, if he's so concerned about the contract, why don't he change it? Mm-hmm. And you laughed. You said Patterson them signed it, almost like why should Ashley Singh change it? Well, Trump didn't sign the contracts, but he went in and he changed it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the government's job to change the contracts if they find they're not right. Mm-hmm. So, if Trump was the president of Guyana, I can tell you that wouldn't be happening to Guyana.
I know that.
They'll all be living like millionaires.
I know that.
That's all.
I know
Thank
that.
you so much, sir.
Stay on the line. I did tell you guys I find it amusing and funny because they were there when the world was talking about the lopsided contract they signed, and they didn't change it. Now they want to tell the PPP to change it. Now they want to come out looking like if, well, you know what? Let's put the blame on PPP to change it. You know, I was basically trying to tell you guys the blame game and this switch game they're playing with the people of this country. Because remember they have...
And I understand.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I understand that. I understand what you're saying.
Thank you.
But I'm just showing you the difference in leaders.
Yes.
Trump didn't sign the contract.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about it before he was elected.
Yeah.
And he went in, he changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley saying them, they'll never be like Trump. Like I keep saying, you can say what you want with Trump. He went in and he fixed what was wrong.
Yes.
Ashley Singh is pointing out to Patterson that they signed the contract, and I think Patterson is right. If you're pointing it out, change it.
Mm-hmm. A matter
of
fact, Jack Dale said when he was in the opposition, he is in favor of renegotiating the contract. As soon as he go in,
right.
As soon as he went in, he changed the song.
That's right. And they're in there now, and they know the contract is wrong. So if they're really concerned about the guy, he should change. Patterson and them, I'm not excusing Abno. They messed up, and they messed up big time. So did Ramatar. But who's in there now? Let them change it. And if they don't change it, then they should stop pointing out that the contracts are bad.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too, man. They are not willing to change the contract. Let me repeat this. Always, this is the first thing I learned in the oil industry. The first thing oil companies do when they go to your country and find oil, they line the pockets of the leaders. They create chaos and confusion.
And while we fight
among ourselves,
while we sleep at the wheel,
they're shipping out your wealth by the boatloads, shiploads, and plane loads.
Yep.
Never forget that. So just read through the lines. Why none of them wants to change this contract? Yes. They're pure evil, man. They're just evil. They are just evil.
Good evening to you, caller. Welcome to the Glenn Lall Show.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Glenn.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, here. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. I hear Mr. Glenn talking every day about this island. But Mr. Jagville, you have to blame Mr.
Hello?
What did you say?
Let's take the other call. I think we lost him there. Caller, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah. I'm just asking the question that.
Can you please speak up for us, sir? We're hearing you a little low.
Yeah, good evening. I'm just wanting to know why is it that, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, right? But why is it that you're the only news entity that's bringing this? Why no other media on the main company?
What did you say? You're the only media house speaking.
Yeah, why is it that nobody has been picking it up? The other journalists or the media, nobody has been peddling it, your stories. Why is it that nobody is fighting for this push? It's not a bad push, it's a good push, but why nobody is on board?
All right. I've talked about this thing a few times. My friend, like I said, the industry is a complex one. And I have journalists right here in Kaieteur News that doesn't understand themselves. If you don't have the kind of business brain to understand this complex oil, you can never find writers to talk about it. I have trained 3 of them, and the government snatched them away. I am left with 1. And if the government snatch this one too, you will have no voice in Guyana.
Wow.
So that's where we stand. The government snatch them and paying them big money.
Oh, so could you, like you're recording, could you?
And the reason why they can't snatch this one is because this one is not up for sale. And the reason why they can't snatch me too, I was never up for sale anytime.
So you could pay to play your rebroadcast on them other stations as how they get advertisement, and you can get them to push it in a way.
My friend.
Yeah.
What I am saying here, you think any politicians like Glenn Lall?
No.
Right. No, they sent me a letter. They sent me a warning letter on some infraction and didn't explain to me what the infraction was. So you read through the line, they are set in their mind to do anything they can to not only shut my mouth down, but shut the radio station down. If they get a chance to close the entire media house down, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So you just gotta read through the line, my friend.
All right, keep pushing.
Thank you. If you want to come on board, or you know anybody who wants to write or who knows to write, send them.
All right.
Thanks.
Good.
You had a question there for me.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night, sir.
Mr. Glenn, that sounded like Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma been talking the same things with Mr. Glenn, talking for years, and finding out a whole set of things about this country. And you know what Mr. Sharma do? You know what Mr. Sharma do? Mr. Sharma gets sued and he locked down the TV station, locked down the radio station. You understand what he's telling you? A couple more mornings, I think Mr. Lall will end up shut him out. Because I know, I'm glad if we could keep up the fight. Yeah, because what I'm telling you, boy, this thing is easy.
I hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Lall, because I tell you, Mr. Sharma will do the same thing, go into the village and go all over the place and look out for the people. And what Mr. Sharma end up today?
I hear you.
Mr. Sharma end up today, Mr. Sharma silent and talking one side.
All right.
And I tell you...
Right. Well, give me a chance. Give me a chance to speak now.
What the government supposed to be doing?
Give me a chance to speak.
Supposed to be doing.
Give me a chance to speak. Give me a chance to speak. Hold on the line. Give me a chance to speak. Listen to me carefully. Glenn Lall is not a Sharma. Glenn Lall has been in the news business for 27 years. And for 27 years, I have been doing exactly what I'm doing here. But I used to do it through the newspapers. I have been educating and highlighting stuff that nobody else has been doing in this country for the last 27 years. I came into the business and has transformed the newspaper industry. And I will transform this broadcasting company completely different and away from the rest of it. And no one, listen to this carefully, no one can shut this mouth. I am not Sharma. You hear me? I am loud and clear, I am not Sharma. 1 second. Yes, sir.
Very good night. Am I on to the Glenn Lall show?
Yes.
Very good night to the viewers on Mr. Lall.
Yeah.
I'm watching your program. Great job.
Mm-hmm.
A caller made a comment earlier, and I think it was a very valid comment in that why, you shouldn't push in other media entities advertise in their newspapers, advertise on their stuff to carry this message, because it's a national message, and this will put them on the spot how patriotic they really are.
My friend, hold a second. Hold a second.
Yeah.
Hold a second. If you get a radio station to air it, I will pay for it. Next.
All right.
Next question.
Thank you very much. Next, I think the issue of the oil and gas is a very national issue. And if Guyanese for the 40-something years since independence and all our history of fighting and ranting among ourselves, this is a perfect opportunity, and I would like to encourage Guyanese here, there's a perfect opportunity for us to unite around the oil and gas, because this situation is going to foster unity, because one common goal is not PPP versus PNC, WPA, AFC was we versus our oil, our wealth, something that belongs to us. So I urging Guyanese to take what you're saying very seriously and try to work with you and implement this thing. Great job. Keep the work up.
Thank you, sir.
One more question before we wrap things up here this evening. I have another question. Do we have anyone checking to verify if these actually dig in these wells, or for we are being charged for?
Sir, I have said it loud and clear earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't know what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
All we've been hearing is only bills coming from us.
Mm-hmm.
Our leaders of this land, the PNC, the AFC, and the PPP is saying nothing. Nothing. You had a question there. Somebody said I want to answer the question.
I think that was the question there that
Okay. We're hearing nothing. Nothing we're hearing. So where does that leave we as a people?
True.
If your leaders aren't saying a word. I have spoken about the OMI contract that they're hiding. The Troy Resources contract they're hiding. The Bosai contract. All these contracts. The Genzing contract in the gold contract. All these contracts they're hiding from us. They're paying these foreigners to rape this country with our wealth. And nobody saying a single word. Why?
And they tried to hide this contract also. They tried.
Yes, this contract.
Yeah.
Trust me, if David Granger did not release his contract, all of us, generations would have passed away, and we would have never been sitting here talking about what's happening here. So you need to understand, without the contracts, without our leaders opening up their mouth, without we push them, right? Without me educating you guys, so you know when you walk on the streets there, you know what's going on. So when you see them and they open their mouth, you must be able to watch them in the face and said, no, you can't talk to me like that. Why do you think they're afraid to come on the radio station? I went on a radio station yesterday. I spent over an hour and a half, and the gentleman says that how he's going to get the coalition, he's going to get our leaders to come on the radio because he has been listening to some of the programs and he find it very interesting. So he invited me. As a matter of fact, an international company is coming tomorrow to meet with me to talk about the oil and gas industry because they too has been listening to the programs. Everybody's listening. There are lots of people who are listening and wants to get on board, help to join the fight to bring about a change. Tomorrow they're coming to meet me. And I'm beginning to feel happy, proud, so that we can sit down and see if we work together, how we can bring about a change, how we will force them to bring about change. I am smelling change. I am feeling change. I am dreaming it. I am sleeping it. Thanks for listening, guys, and God bless you all.